Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I've got game number 1 of a best of 1 coming up, and this is going to be an interesting cast because for those of you who've been tuning in over the last few days will know that I've had a bit of a cough. I've had to keep muting my mic. Well, this cough has basically upgraded into tier 2 tech. It's now a chest infection. I have antibiotics, but because I've had it for a couple of weeks I don't have a store of casts, so I can't stop casting because I get out a game a day, and yeah, that means I'm here. And I'm going to try and make this work, so bear with me. It's still going to be good because the game's going to be awesome. And I guess it's good practice for me because it has been noted that sometimes I can get a bit overexcited and talk a tad too fast. So this is making me really plan out my sentences so that if I do feel a cough coming on, I have time to mute my mic. But anyway, enough about that and a bit about the players. Spawning down in the bottom left hand position, he's the red Zerg player. It's Destiny. And his opponent up in the top right, it's the blue Terran, it's Mario from HTO. He's a top GM player. Destiny, of course, awesome. Everyone knows who Destiny is, so it's cool times. Now, Derelict Watcher going to be the map of choice for these two, and what's going to come down here is going to be very interesting. For the moment, we don't see a barracks or anything like that, so hypothetically, could be very likely to be a command center first opening now, just because of the timings of things. Whether or not Mario decides to make that as part of his main wall off, or if he goes for it down in the natural, we'll wait and see. But from that rally point, it seems like the natural base is going to be on the cards. And this is a little bit more risky, because you don't have the wall off as safety, and should your opponent be going for something a bit more aggressive, you could run into some problems. But clearly Mario, feeling confident that Destiny going to be playing things standard, getting down that hatch first, and following it up with either a gas or a pull. So as it stands, things are all going pretty normal, pretty safe and steady. Of course, this is very much the standard way you play TVZ at the moment, and getting down, you do sometimes get a Reaper expand. That's probably a bit more common than the command center first, but it's still very safe. Going into this one gas after the one racks from this opening is pretty new actually. A lot of players traditionally went for at least one additional barracks, so going to 2 racks. Getting this refinery down just means you've got an earlier tech, but you are a lot more vulnerable early on. So that's something that you do want to keep a little bit of a watch on. Maybe if you're in one of the lower leagues, just be really careful. And sorry about that cough there. So I mean, it's terrible, and that wasn't even a big cough. That was like me just spluttering a bit. So I do apologise for all of this, and I am trying to recover as quickly as I can, but I can't afford to not do any of this. So anyway, as it stands at the moment, this game going along its standard track, and of course this gives me a bit of time to say some cool things that are coming up. Of course, WCS EU challenges starting up very soon. It's actually this weekend, the 5th and 6th of January. I won't be casting on the 5th and 6th because I'm actually away, but after that I am going to be casting all of it. Every single WCS qualifier and every single WCS EU Challenger game. It will be hosted on the normal channels. I'll be casting a lot of it with Penguin, so make sure that you tune in because it's going to be absolutely sensational, especially with the new format this season. So, with this new format, obviously there's going to be a lot of content. It's coming out over a more consolidated period of time, but definitely something to keep a good close eye on. And well, I believe this weekend it's going to be Zombie Grub and Rift King are going to be doing the qualifier. So yeah, make sure you check those out, give them all your love and support, and that'll be sweet. Anyway, back to this game. We've got 4 queens on the way out for Destiny. Very normal stuff coming out there. He's getting meanwhile, over Mario's side, obviously getting down the reactor, getting down the factory. Only on 1 gas for the moment, so that's allowing a good amount of production. 3rd CC getting thrown down. Wow, this build is greedy. This is such an insanely greedy build. Basically, going for a CC first into a gas after the first barracks is already greedy because you don't have any production. There's 1 Marina on the field. That's the only army supply currently available. By getting down that 3rd CC, you're basically saying I'm not getting any production, and then powering it on with more tech going into Banshee is incredibly risky. And if it pays off, if Destiny doesn't go aggressive, it's going to be fine. It's going to be really actually very good for the Terran player. But if Destiny were to put on some pressure, it would be so hard to hold this, especially if some roaches were wandering up here, rather than this quick 3rd. Then you could be running into some bad times. But for the moment, Destiny hasn't seen anything too crazy. All he knows is that, yep, that's a command center, and that's all that has been seen. So he knows the timing of that it would have been a CC first, but nothing too crazy going on anyway. So, We've got, of course, the additional gases now getting taken here. This is all some pretty good times, actually. Destiny just going off quite high in the gas count. No Lair as well suggests that he is going to be looking to pump out a good number of roaches pretty quick, and he's going to be able to afford to do so. But what he isn't aware of yet is the fact that, of course, there's the Banshee coming out, and that's something that he is going to be wanting to keep an eye on. He's also getting the double evolution chambers out, and so with that gas, he's going to be able to pump out a decent amount of upgrades. And also these double queens, they can do a good job of trying to keep those Hellions out, can wall them off, and so therefore they've got no choice but to retreat down. They can come and check to see whether the third's been taken. We'll confirm that it's on its way. But with roaches already being made, the lair coming down, Destiny looking to be in a solid spot. But it's worth noting, it's a defensive position from Destiny currently. And what Mario's doing as well is playing relatively defensive. Even though he's out on the map, it doesn't look it. But all he's doing is harassing. He's poking and prodding and making sure that Destiny is definitely staying back home because he's so vulnerable at his natural. He's still only got that one Marine out on the field. One Marine, one Banshee, and 8 Hellions. So it's harassment and tech while trying to expand and get into the mid-game. And that's a really good strategy. And we're even seeing the second Banshee come down. There isn't any cloak, but that's to be expected because there was only the single gas opening. But now it's just a good little peek of what's going to be able to take some damage. The Banshee's still just waiting there. The Queen does need to be a little bit cautious. There's quite a lot of stuff coming over. Of course, Destiny doesn't yet have vision of any of this. So even when the creep tune is finished, I don't think he'll quite be able to see. But if it comes charging straight at his front door, he will know. So this many Hellions and the Banshee make short work of that Queen. Of course, the roaches as well don't fare that well against the Banshee. The Queens, though, are the big thing to get taken out. You don't want these Banshee going down, and as we can see, the Hellions actually doing a fantastic job of roasting through a lot of this. It's a heavy Hellion play. The Banshees, though, picking apart a lot. Destiny is starting to struggle. The splash damage tearing through these Queens very quickly. Well, this is where things start looking pretty cool. We can see a good amount of roaches are now out on the field, but not before a tremendous number of drones gets taken out. Yes, most of the Hellions have also been killed, but 11 workers down. The Banshee still going to town on anything. Queens are in production again, but currently nothing to deal with these Banshee. Hellions still having a bit more of a party, roasting up a couple more drones, and this is all fantastic little hits. If that one drone gets a bit of flame on it, would have got taken out, but no, Banshee's over there now. Should be able to get a couple more kills. Not actually targeting damage drones, which would be a wise move to make. There's another Banshee as well, coming to try and deal with this counter attack. But this is where Mario could have some problems. He doesn't have much of a defense. The Banshee that was offensively being used has been taken out. And while there was a good amount of worker damage done, that could get replicated over on Mario's side. All of these these tasty mules, bad times. They're trying to get pulled away, but I think the roaches may just spy them. A quick little lift, and this is where as many SCVs as possible are trying to make the perilous escape, but I don't think it's going to go too well for them. But still, 4 workers killed compared to 21. Mario is still up in the worker count. He's still on equal basis, and his gas is looking really solid as well. So, these Banshees doing a great job of trying to really whittle down the roach numbers. The Hellions playing a brave game are going to get sniped out, and this is a very brave move to make. They're essentially just trying to stop the roaches without taking too much damage and allowing the Banshees to try and pick a few more of them off, because this is quite a lot of investment from Destiny at the moment. Destiny also has the 1-2 upgrades coming down. It's already got 1-1 done, so just getting down to the missile attack and of course the carapace. But all in all, things looking fairly solid for both of these two now as they start to stabilize a bit further into this game. Now, this is the big thing. Destiny getting out some Mutalisks. They're going to be coming in, trying to get a little bit of damage done. But of course, Mario, he's already got some pretty solid scouting information. He hasn't seen in the main as of yet, but he can suspect the Mutalisks would be on the cards. He's already got missile turrets coming here, there, and everywhere. And the reason he can deduce that is because of the early gas timings. He knows that Destiny was trying to pump a lot there. Destiny cancelled the +1 missile attack and starts +2 melee attack, which is, I think, a better choice. But the Banshee, they're coming in now. They're going to try and get some damage done, but without Cloak, with the Mutalisks on the field, they've got no choice but to start suiciding now. How many workers can they kill? A couple more will go down. In total, 28 have been killed this game. And that actually means that Mario is up in terms of the worker count. A couple of Hellions bravely trying to charge their way up into the main one, being successful in his journey. Just gets a little peek, nice little scout out, may try and kill a drone or two, but with the Queen there won't be able to do any damage. A few missile turrets are already thrown down, and a Thor. The Thor, a bit far away from the missile turrets though, is going to get magic boxed, and that really isn't what you want to happen to your Thor. One more Mutalisk will get taken out, but that's not a good trade for Mario there. Destiny dealing a good bit of damage in big open area where it isn't protected by missile turrets, and while there are some in the middle protecting those siege tanks, it's unfortunately the middle line that's taking a considerable amount of fire at the moment. Ling's trying to get through, will get taken out by those tanks, but it's the mass kind of bunch up of the SCVs trying to keep this safe. That's a big Thor hit there. The splash damage dealing considerable amounts of damage to that Mutalisk flock. All looking good, while Destiny secures up his 4th. As things stand, this is still a pretty even game. I'd say there's a slight advantage currently for Mario, purely based on the fact that he's on an equal economy to Destiny for the time being. It's also because of the mech composition that we're seeing Mario go for. The longer this game goes on, generally the better it stands. Interesting choice from Destiny is that already he knows that it's a mech build, but he's still opting to get the Baneling Nest. A lot of Zerg players would try and go for a bit more of a roach heavy composition against mech, but the one thing Destiny has seen is that a good number of tanks are already down. But still, getting Banelings aren't that effective against mech as a standard rule of thumb, and so I'm excited to see what Destiny's going to do to try and utilize Banelings against this composition from the Terran player. So, with the 2-2 upgrades about to kick in for mech, the 2-2 upgrades already done for Destiny, this is fairly even in terms of the upgrade count, but it's the additional command centers getting thrown down that are really exciting, because this means that obviously the economy for Mario can keep skyrocketing. The big thing is that he's going to get plenty of mineral income from mules with these, but he needs to secure up additional gases in order to fund the production of this gas-intensive mech army. So, for the moment it's all looking good. The Mutalisk's still trying to find a good little window of opportunity to sneak in, but with so many missile turrets down, it's going to be tough to do so. There's 11 missile turrets already, another one in production. It starts getting pretty crazy fairly fast, and that's exactly what Mario wants. He wants it to be Fort Knox. He doesn't want Destiny breaking through, and Destiny is responding to this in the right way, to be honest, by just expanding out. Mario being very defensive after that initial harassment, and now just wanting to build up a solid mech force. So by expanding everywhere, Destiny is really hitting a mech army where it hurts most, in its mobility. It can't come around picking off expansions every which way. It get too far out of position and leave Mario's own base defenseless. But by expanding everywhere, Destiny just says my economy is going to be great and I can keep throwing stuff at this army even if I'm a bit cost ineffective, because being cost effective against mech can be exceptionally challenging. Vipers are one good option. Some abducts can really narrow down this army to bite-sized chunks. Also, this harassment damage potentially could do some hurt, but the trouble is there's just so many missile turrets on the field that I don't see it being an effective strategy long-term. But the trouble for Destiny is he's already invested so heavily in Mutalisks, and he's continuing to invest in them, that it's going to be very interesting to see how this works. The Thor count is huge. 6 Thors. That's going to require some fairly intense magic boxing to work. Add in the Widow Mines too, and that gets a lot more scary. A couple of Widow Mine hits will go off, a few Mutalisks picked apart, and Mario's starting to advance forward. He's going to go and take his 4th base too. But it's Destiny who's really looking to be under a lot of pressure now. This army is going to slowly start leapfrogging forward. Both players maxed out, upgrades are equal, but +3 mech attack is about to be done for Mario, whereas the 3-3 upgrades are yet to start for Destiny. He's got a good number of Banelings, but as I said earlier, I'm going to be very interested to see how these Banelings try to engage, because with the +2 attack, that means that suddenly Banelings get one-shotted by Tang Splash, and it's going to be a lot harder to work. These Overseers, incredibly important, not only to see the Widow Mines, but potentially to soak up some of their damage. But now Mario is getting closer and closer, but Destiny is going to go to try and end this out. The Banelings plowing through, trying to take out the Thors so that they aren't able to deal with the Mutalisks. But as we see, a lot of the Thors have gone down, but there's still the Vikings there. The Widow Mines did trigger one good hit off, but unfortunately a lot of the Mutalisks still staying alive. Destiny, however, loses about 4,000 more minerals, probably about 3,000 once he's cleaned up the units coming back, but that still isn't really what Destiny would have wanted. Although, the big plus side for Destiny is he can now counterattack very effectively, assuming there isn't too much back at home. The downside for Destiny, though, is because he's got so many links, or so many Mutalisks, the missile turret numbers are going to be very problematic. But the fourth, completely vulnerable. Does Destiny know it's there? No is the answer, but he's flying straight for it. Must assume that it's coming down, and the missile turrets have not yet been constructed. This is basically a free base for Mutalisks to go and farm at, and they're going to take every opportunity to deal all the damage possible. So, quick building of those missile turrets is not working fast enough. A few will get done, but it's only a couple, and the Mutalisk count should be able to just plow through those very quickly. The only one that did get constructed focused down exceptionally fast. The one remaining getting repaired up though instantly, and with the Thors coming over, this base will be able to stand, and that's a nice little win. Add in the fact that there's a couple of Hellbats pushing in towards the fifth base of Destiny, and this is some nice counter damage being done. But with the Mutalisks coming to deal with it, they should get cleaned up fairly effortlessly, especially before they're able to take down a hatchery. So all looking good there for the time being. But nice little splinter group of those Hellbats moving down towards the fourth. May get roasting a good number of Zergs if they do go for the wraparound. But all in all, still a very close game. Destiny losing about 3,000 more resources, but his economy's solid, 80 workers. Both players losing a similar amount, 10 more workers killed by the Terran compared to the Zerg, but nothing too crazy. Terran building armor even coming down here, ship plating level 3, and the blue flame upgrade for those Hellbats all on their way. Very late blue flame upgrade for the Hellbats actually, which is something that is worth noting. Generally that's one of the first things that you see Terran players get when they are going mech in order to deal with a lot of Ling play. So this is, again, Destiny looking relatively strong with the Mutalisk flock. If he can take out the fourth base, I'd say he's in a great position. But the sensor tower is buying a lot of information for Mario and may just be enough. So, a huge number of Banelings now morphing in. Push gonna be coming shortly. Just morphing out of range of that turret and that sensor tower. The Mutalisk somewhat suiciding in to get a bit of vision, but more missile turrets on their way. The tanks need to be sieged up, ready to deal with this push from Destiny. One lone Hellbat going to try and pick off this base to the right, but I don't see it being too successful on its own, especially since there's so many missile turrets now on their way. Hero Hellbat gets a good scout out though, knows this is coming, but Mario pushing forward, and Destiny, I think, not expecting this. 2 more command centers getting made, the 3-3 mech upgrades done, compared to 2-2 currently for Destiny. No air attack upgrades, just the air armor, and with so many Thors, Destiny is going to have to pull off another brilliant defense if he's going to counterattack and deal good damage. And he needs a ground army because there's so many missile turrets, it's unlikely the Mutalisks alone will do anything if a counter push were to come through. For the moment, Mario pretty much ignoring that base to the right, sieging up the tanks. The Mutalisks trying to magic box over these Thors. The Banelings are getting ready to roll in, but since most of the rest of the ground army has been taken out, and with those good upgrades, most of the Banelings get decimated. Destiny's supply plummeting at the moment, and most of this mech force still alive. Hellbats engaging the spine crawlers directly. The Thor count is up though, and Destiny knows that he will not stop that force, and GG's out of the game. So congratulations to Mario there. If you liked the cast, like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with yet another new game, hopefully with my cough at least starting to subside. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. New games daily. Bye for now.